Welcome back, everybody. I'm Brian Bogert, and we are back today for episode 62 of Bogert's Bullets. Today, we're going to talk about not hiding who you are from the world. I recently had to go in for routine labs and get my blood drawn. And as the phlebotomist was extracting the blood from my body, we just got into a general conversation about life and where we were from and weather and those types of things. And it was kind of interesting because she said to me in the very beginning of the conversation she was from the Middle East and almost hid exactly where she was from and said it almost like she was a little bit ashamed. So we just continued to talk. And a couple of minutes later I said, I'm just curious, where in the Middle East are you from? And she said, Iraq. And she mumbled it under her breath, almost like she was ashamed of it, or conditioned to be ashamed of it, or conditioned that people would judge or put hate on her in some way just simply because of where she was from. Now she's only maybe 20 years old, and she was born at the time that the war was just getting started. She clearly had nothing to do with any of it. In fact, shared some really interesting stories about not having electricity and the home that they had to live in during the war, and how insecure and unsafe they felt so often. As well as 125 to 130 degrees over there, what they had to do to stay cool. They literally wet the floor and would lay on the floor with bare skin because it was the only way to get the proper cooling into their bodies and into the room, just to be able to survive. We had a really fascinating discussion, but what I walked away with was that I was struck by how she didn't want to tell me she was from Iraq. She didn't know, didn't trust that I would lean into it and talk to her as if she was from Alabama or from Washington or from New York or California. She immediately knew that she was an outsider in certain ways and that there's a certain percentage of the population of the United States that just simply wouldn't accept her for who she is and where she's from. We had a great conversation. But it also caused me to reflect on the fact that there are many people who show up and hide a portion of themselves from the world because the world hasn't ever accepted them, hasn't shown them love, appreciation, support, and given them permission to feel that it's okay to be exactly who they are from exactly where they're from. That happens from people who are from the United States, with different color skin, with different socioeconomic backgrounds, with different experiences in life, with different injuries. And feeling like an outsider, or like you're not going to be welcome, or like you need to hide part of who you are for the world to accept you, is extremely damaging to the psyche and the emotional state. So I would just challenge all of us to, one, start with finding ways to be inclusive. Find ways to make people feel welcome. Find ways to accept and acknowledge people for exactly who they are, from exactly where they've come from, because perspective is one of the most powerful things on this planet. Had I not leaned in to ask her that additional question on where she's from, and then responded in a way that gave her the permission to talk, we wouldn't have had that conversation for me to understand what it was like for her growing up in Iraq, in the middle of a war, with a family that wasn't in any way involved in it. And so that's a memory that I will cherish forever. But that's typically on us to find a way to make other people feel included. It's also on us to try to demonstrate and push through that fear of someone or some group or some world not accepting who we are and where we're from and the things we've been through. So it's a two-sided coin. We need to bring people in, but we also need to push through those walls ourselves, those moments of discomfort, and be prepared that someone still might not accept us, but at least we've lived 100% authentically to who we are. And we can own it, and we can live it, and we can be it, because we are enough, we are worthy, and we are all human beings that need to find a way to come together and gain perspective from each other. If you like this message, please share. Please hit the like button, please comment, so that more people can get their eyes on this content. And until next time, be great and be you.